Welcome to the January 4th meeting of the Sustainability Commission. Meetings are broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable, Channel 6, and ATT Uverse, Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live in high definition on the city webpage, glendaleca.gov/live, on youtube.com/myglendale, and on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, iOS, and Android devices, using a free app called Cablecast and choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived in the city website for viewing at any time at glendaleca.gov/agendas. Call 818-548-4013 for program schedules. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. Public comments on a specific agenda item will be taken when that agenda item is discussed. If you have any question about matters on the agenda or request for assistance, please contact the city clerk at 818-548-2090 during regular business hours. Roll call.
Commissioner Bartrosov.
Here.
Commissioner Kartunian. Commissioner Werner.
Here.
Vice Chair Bazemore. Chair Pinkerton.
Here.
Ex officio Espendian. Ex officio Welch. First item is roll call. Next item is 1A, Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is 1B, Land Acknowledgement.
We would like to acknowledge that we're holding this meeting in the city of Glendale on the traditional lands of the Gabrielino Tongva people. We would like to pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, and the Tongva communities who continue to be stewards of this land. We encourage our audience to learn more about the Tongva tribe and the many indigenous communities in California and beyond. You can find a list of books and resources at eglendaleac.org/Native American. Thank you.
Next item, 1C, report regarding posting of agenda. And for the record, ex officio Welch has entered the dais. Item 1C, report regarding posting of agenda. The agenda for the January 4th, 2024 meeting of the Sustainability Commission was posted December 28, 2023 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Next item is 2, approval of the minutes. 2A, approval of the minutes of the Commission regular meeting held December 6, 2023.
Any comments, corrections?
I just have one minor one on item 2, approval of minutes, and mention that Commissioner Werner, had proposed minor edits to the meetings when it should say minor edits to the minutes. Other than that, I didn't have any further corrections.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes with the correction?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
And roll call. Commissioner Bartrosov?
Yes.
Commissioner Kartunian? Commissioner Werner?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bazemore? And Chair Pinkerton?
Yes.
Next item is 3, board member staff comments.
Just have a quick one in directing to Mr. Jones. Do you manage the Green Business Program? And I was just wondering if we could get an update maybe this quarter. I'm just curious about outreach and how many businesses have been certified.
Yeah, we can get that update for you.
Oh, I have one other. I plan to go to the city council meeting on Tuesday just to talk about donation programs that the city of LA is sponsoring. I've been making presentations in other cities, but I'm hoping that Glendale can join in since all our cities are contiguous and maybe have the city sponsor some of these donation drives. So Thanks.
Okay.
Sorry. I'd like to see if I can get a second to agendize an action item, and that is to support the creation of a new park at Lot 11 in South Glendale.
Was that the dog park specifically, or?
Yeah,
just any
so
park?
the Parks Commission had recommended a dog park at Lot 11. Council deliberated on whether or not that would be a good idea. It turns out that Lot 11 ultimately was not pursued as a dog park. So I'd like to piggyback on the Parks Commission in supporting a park. I know there was like specific concern about it being a dog park and its proximity to the future Armenian American Museum. However, I would like to express I would like for the commission to consider expressing support for a passive or general park in place of a dog park. And if I can get a second, maybe we can get a staff report or presentation to discuss and make a decision.
I'd be willing to second that.
Great idea. Thank you.
Is there any other action that's needed or? Okay, great, thank you.
Will we have any more joint meetings with the Parks Commission like we did a year or two ago? I think that was specifically about the artificial turf.
Correct, Commissioner Werner. So yes, that was specific to that item.
Okay.
Next item is oral communications. Discussion is limited to items within the jurisdiction of the Sustainability Commission. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Sustainability Commission members may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff for investigation and report. At this moment, we do not have any callers. Next then is agenda item 5, action items. 5A is appointing one member of the Sustainability Commission as member of the project development team for the development of the Vision Zero Action Plan, VZAP. Motion to select a member of the Sustainability Commission to serve on the project development team for the Vision Zero Action Plan.
Chairperson Pinkerton, I'd like to invite Ishmael Perez from Planning Associate and Community Development to provide information on this item.
Good evening, Commissioners. Happy New Year. Staff is requesting the Sustainability Commission select one member to serve as part of the Vision Zero Action Plan's project development team. The goal of the PDT, or project development team, is to guide Vision Zero's action plan, in which will greatly benefit from the insight of this commission to reduce pedestrian and bicyclist deaths in Glendale. Our first meeting is expected to occur in February, and city staff and community stakeholders will be in attendance, and we look forward to your selection. Thank you.
I just have a quick comment. We kind of have an embarrassment of riches in that we do have 2 commissioners very heavily invested in this area of bikers planning. I just wondered, have you had any discussions with your fellow commissioners, or do you have a...
I have. I am interested in nominating Cole to take this on as far as the commission is concerned. So I'm happy to have that conversation when we're ready to have it.
Well, yeah, you and Cole both served on the, the sort of the, I guess, committee that was looking into all this that led to this development team. So are you going to be serving already through one of the other groups that you're involved with?
That hasn't been decided yet. I think Walk Back Glendale is also invited to be at the table, and that group hasn't decided who their point of contact will be. That hasn't been decided yet.
So Commissioner Bazemore could be the person through that group because he belongs to that as well, right? Theoretically.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I know in the report that they expressed some concern that maybe the, pro-bicycle group might be overrepresented if we had a team member that was, a sustainability commissioner also on that team. So I personally don't think that's necessarily warranted because I know some of us, I think, could be objective about it, though in general, I felt like there seemed to be a lot of more bike-friendly groups on those, but then there's also lots of chambers of commerce and that sort of thing where they're usually concerned about motorists being able to get to their businesses and that kind of thing. So, and realtors, and it seemed like a pretty good cross-section of the community that I don't think having a commissioner is going to tip the scale too much, one way or another.
Let me ask, do you feel that you've got enough transportation people on the commission so I think it's balanced, we're in good shape?
So far, yeah, we've invited a substantial amount of stakeholders, both from the community and regional as well. So the Sustainability Commission will be an added bonus as well.
Just one question, I should know this, but how pedestrian-oriented is your group? Because I remember Commissioner Werner saying she stopped riding a bike. Same thing, I don't ride a bike because I feel horribly unsafe. But I've had a lot of close calls crossing, stepping in crosswalks when people are making right-hand turn. So is there also pedestrian, because we have a lot of pedestrian accidents, especially in South Glendale, right?
Yeah, so Walk by Glendale specifically is an advocacy organization here in Glendale that advocates for safer streets. It did start about 15 years ago with a focus on bicycling, but over the years and in more recent years, the focus has been to make streets safer for everybody, and that has been the sole focus of the organization. So yes, there may be an overrepresentation in this group should it form the way that people anticipate. But I will also say that the seriously killed or seriously injured collisions that occur on our streets are overrepresented by pedestrians and people who bike. So, but I think no matter who is on the task force, whether we're driving to a place or walking or biking, ultimately we are all eventually pedestrians. Even if we park our car on the street and we cross the street, we are also a pedestrian while we drive to various locations. So I don't think that's necessarily a concern. I think we should be having more advocates advocating for safer streets, because quite frankly, having done this advocacy for 15 years, we as a city have not been doing enough. One example I can come up with is right here on Broadway in Glendale, where there was a pedestrian fatality on the sidewalk by somebody turning left and them being hit by somebody proceeding straight. And it's collisions like that could be avoided, for example, if we implemented protected left turn only phasings at intersections. So that's a intervention I plan on bringing up as an example and just have, but it's things like that we need to have an eye towards to ensure that we are making the streets as safe as possible for all of our vulnerable users.
Would you like to nominate Cole?
Yeah, I asked him if he was interested, and he said yes. Unfortunately, he's not here today. But as somebody who lives in a dense part of Glendale, who often walks, bikes, and drives as well, I think he just started taking the Commuter Express bus by Glendale High to get to work. So he is a multimodal user of the streets, and I think he's well versed in active transportation, best practices, and I think he would be well suited to represent the commission. So yes, I'm formally nominating Cole to represent us.
Well, I assume he will accept, so I second.
Members of the commission, perhaps you want to make it conditional upon his actual acceptance. So the nomination of Cole Bazemore for the serve on the project development team for Vision Zero action plan. Yeah.
Okay, so move to amend to upon his acceptance. Thank you.
Roll call. Roll call, Commissioner Bartrosov,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartoonian, Commissioner Werner,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bazemore, Chair Pinkerton.
Yes.
Since we're on that topic, so the little voices that goes on in my head when I think about I was familiar with this group. I've been looking into the Vision Zero thing for a long time, but I know in some instances they're advocating to have all the traffic slow down to 20 miles an hour in order to reduce traffic, and yet you have to dig pretty deep into their materials and things to find that. I think that needs to be made clear up front, for transparency, because everyone will say, yay, fewer fatalities, but once they hear that, oh, I can't drive over 20 in the city, then they're going to go, oh, wait a minute, I'm not, comfortable with that. And bicycles, and well, walking even for that matter, but it's not as inclusive, like people of, who are very young, very old, any kind of disability at all will keep you off of a bicycle pretty much. People with visual impairments, athletic injury, whatever. So I would hate to see the city start focusing all on bicycles when that represents less than 5% of the transportation, and I think 5 is a lot. Is probably much lower than that, but then something that is also not an available mode of transportation to a lot of good segment of the city. So whereas cars are something that you can have visual impairments and still get around in a car. And I also worry about the fatalities that could occur by emergency vehicles not being able to get to people quickly because of the gridlock from the 20 mile an hour and reducing lanes and things like that. So I feel like ultimately more people could pass away because seconds count if you just had a heart attack or something and you have to wait another 5, 10, 15 minutes for an emergency vehicle to arrive. That could mean the difference between life and death. So I hope that there are people on this committee that are, looking at it holistically and not just, I know sometimes there's that little rivalry between cars and bicycles, and any bike rider that's ever almost been hit by a car, which is probably every time they get on their bike, there almost becomes kind of a hostility there, and that doesn't become some kind of effort to try to get back at motorists, like, if we can make it so miserable for motorists that we can have a more bike-friendly city when gridlock's a real thing, and it affects the whole city, businesses, people deciding where to shop and live and things like that. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the bicycle thing. If I served on it, I would be like the one going no all the time, I think. So, but I'm sure Commissioner Bazemore will be able to consider all transportation users in the city.
I will just say quickly that, and staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but Vision Zero is a holistic approach to addressing traffic fatalities. So if through the research they find that, let's say 40% of traffic fatalities happens to people on bicycles, then I think that proportion of effort and resources should be taken to address that specific issue. But we will find through research that everybody is vulnerable, whether it's somebody in a car, As we have learned a couple days ago, there was a fatality on Glen Oaks, somebody driving in their car. Whether you're walking or biking, active transportation is by far the most vulnerable population when it comes to traffic fatalities. So there are best practices in urban planning and transportation planning that address safety holistically. The most recent example I can think of in Glendale is La Crescenta Avenue, where we did support and ultimately approve a lane reconfiguration. And the vast majority of the collisions that happened on that street were car-on-car collisions. And the best practice to reconfigure that street addressed the rear-end collisions that were commonly occurring on that street, the broadsides that were happening, the side swipes that were happening. There are ways in which streets are designed that are not friendly to people in cars. And I think Vision Zero is an opportunity for this city to address holistically the erratic behavior and, frankly, the way the streets are designed to be a little bit safer. Just on the way over here today, I saw somebody run a red light and almost hit a car that was going through the intersection and pedestrians that were also in the crosswalk at Orange and Lexington. And I hate to say it as somebody who's lived here my whole life, this is a common theme in the city of Glendale, and we are known for our notorious drivers. Excuse me. A lot of that is attributed to behavior, but that behavior is also dictated by design. And so if we are going to think that we need to design our streets to accommodate emergency vehicles, we will basically be advocating for more dangerous streets, streets that look like freeways. If our only mindset is that we want an ambulance to get to their destination as quickly as possible. So there's a little bit of a balance that needs to take place. There are best practices. There are federal studies for how streets should be designed based on speed, traffic volumes, the density of a neighborhood, its destinations, and I'm sure that all of that will be taken into account as part of this analysis.
Well, and there's also the Assembly Bill 645 that just kicked in on January 1st, the traffic cameras. Laura Friedman had sponsored that, and Glendale is one of the 5 cities, I believe it is, 5 or 6 cities that are piloting that program where they can read the license plate and then issue a ticket in the mail. And I think that's going to do a lot because, I agree, there's a lot of reckless driving going on in Glendale, and hopefully we'll have lots of multi-pronged approaches to reducing that and saving lives.
One quick question. I read that somebody's proposing eliminating right on red. Is that true?
That's been discussion as part of the bicycle master plan, but it is a specific intervention that can be done at specific intersections. It can be looked at as a citywide approach, but oftentimes it's very location context specific. I know in the city of LA, for example, you are not allowed to turn right on red at scramble crosswalks, which is those crosswalks where you can go diagonally. The only one that we have here in Glendale is at the Americana, and we do allow right turn on reds at that specific location. So cities approach things differently. I made my case for why I think the city of Glendale needs to change, and that could be one of the things to consider.
Well, I think it's great that it can be tailored to individual intersections, because I think otherwise people might be very, very opposed if it were citywide.
Right.
Good, thank you. I would love to see it go away. That's when I've always been,
On to the next item. No,
I think we have a public comment. If
we
can-
have a comment.
Is the guard
So we're gonna take a step back to oral communications, if that's okay, Chair. And we have a speaker.
Fine with me.
Fine with me, yes. And this speaker will have 5 minutes.
David Harone, please offer your comments.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is David Hiron, and I am here to give general comment. And I just want to say I am so proud of the work that you all do. I know that on your agenda, you're in development of your future plans for how this commission will impact the great city of Glendale. Your neighbors to the south in the city of Los Angeles, where I work as the environmental, climate, and sustainability policy director for Councilmember Bob Blumenfield, is taking great steps to move the entire region forward. What you do here not only matters for Glendale and for your neighbors, but it matters for the county of Los Angeles. And make sure that the state of California listens to us as a region, that we demand more sustainable practices, and that localities need help from Sacramento to get there. Thank you for what you do. David Hiron, an ally and a resident with you in the fight. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. I will reveal that David and I worked on various plastics legislation in the city of Los Angeles over the past several years. So good to see you. Thanks. And Natalie Friedberg is here also with the Silver Lake Chamber of Commerce, and has also done a lot of work with LA restaurants on converting them over to reusables or compostables away from disposable items. Thanks. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. So next item is 5B, selecting a Sustainability Commission representative to join the Earth Day 2024 Planning and Implementation Committee. Motion to select a member of the commission to represent the Sustainability Commission on the Earth Day 2024 Planning and Implementation Committee.
I'd like to invite our sustainability intern, Nora, to present this item.
Hello. Hi. Good evening, Chairperson Pinkerton and Sustainability Commissioners. So our office is setting up a new Earth Day Planning Committee to help us both plan for Earth Day and implement events for Earth Day. We recognize that this is a community event, so we'd like the community to be involved in the planning process so that we can make a better event for everyone. So we, along with inviting community organizations, we'd like a Sustainability Commission member to also join the committee as a representative and to participate in the events of the committee.
Just a couple quick comments on that, because I know several of us, I think, contributed comments and suggestions for the past Earth Day events. So I don't know if we want to limit it to one commissioner, or I guess an alternative would be to have our own maybe ad hoc committee to develop suggestions outside committee meetings and then carry those to that planning committee. I'm open to either. I just will throw one thing out. I would very much like to see for this Earth Day that we have a donation element, that when we invite members of the public to attend, that we have suggestions for items that they can donate. I know you've started some programs, you've had some donation drives at the library, for example, but I would think it would be great if we could incorporate that into the Earth Day, and also just try to make it as close to zero waste as possible. I'll share LA's zero waste ordinance that was adopted, just over a year ago. The ordinance strongly controls foodware at events to ensure that, just to really minimize the amount of non-recyclable, non-compostable trash. So if we could use those as unofficial guidelines, but it would be great to start letting vendors know, because that's a big change in their procurement policies. But those are my suggestions off the top of my head. Thanks.
Well, we would be limited to 2 people because of the Brown Act, so those 2 might as well just attend the meetings and have the, the brainstorming and all that kind of thing. But I still want to put in a plug for battery collection. It's still very difficult. I drove around, and I hate driving to drop something out because I feel like I'm like putting, spewing emissions to go, just like trading one, impact for another. But Staples only collects so many things, and different. And then there's a recycling center that's been closed a lot, at least according to Nextdoor. So I'm still, my battery collection is piling up, and I hope my house doesn't burn down. waiting for somewhere convenient to drop off batteries.
The local libraries will accept batteries for recycling.
Yeah, the libraries don't have adequate parking, so we can't, so they're parking blocks away and walking and.
Well, one thing I'm going to suggest on Tuesday, I want to talk briefly about permanent donation programs the City of LA has in a lot of our buildings, but battery buckets are part of that. So you could stockpile your batteries and bring them once a month here. Thanks.
Well, is anybody interested in?
I would like to participate, but I don't want to preclude anybody because I've done it before.
If you don't want to preclude, you can have one voting member and one ex officio, or you can just have both ex officios, or you could just have one member, you can have no members.
Ex officio Commissioner Welch, are you interested?
I would be interested. I don't really know what it includes or like what planning requires, but I'm happy to help, yeah.
There were a number of meetings on Mondays, I believe, right? Some specific dates.
As long as you can attend the majority of meetings, yeah.
Mondays?
Yeah.
Is it? Actually, I probably can do Mondays.
Perfect.
It's the one day I don't have very much stuff going on usually.
At what time?
Most of them are from 6 to 7.
6 to 7 p.m. Are they here?
Yeah. Okay. But there's also a virtual option, so if you can't make it, it can be over Zoom.
Yes, it's specifically January 22nd, February 12th, March 18th, April 1st, and April 15th.
And then Earth Day itself, April 20th.
So I would like to nominate Commissioner Chair Pinkerton and ex officio Commissioner Welsh to be our representatives on the Earth Day Committee.
And before we vote, since I'm opting to not participate directly, I do want to just provide some feedback off the bat. I'm hoping that we can consider a different venue than Palmer Park. There's not much shade at that facility, and it's very difficult to enjoy your time there when you're just hanging out on a concrete pad. So I've mentioned before, Maple Park is, in my opinion, a strong candidate because it's surrounded by low-income, multifamily buildings where people can participate just sheerly by looking outside and seeing that there's a fun, exciting activity happening at a local park. I also really like what we've been doing with the clothing swaps and the fix-it clinics. I'm hoping that we can incorporate those kind of activities that will draw people to an event, and why not have this be like an all-encompassing activity where various things are happening. And then I do want, because I know our resources are limited, obviously with our team and with us as volunteers, just tapping into existing resources. So I know Public Works, for example, they'll give away free compost bins. And I just did it recently. They ask you like a very simple, like 5-question survey, and then they're willing to deliver a compost bin to your house. But if we can incentivize folks to come to the event and have the opportunity to pick up a free compost bin, maybe Public Works can participate that way. There's another city function that I thought of that has escaped my mind. If I come up with others, I'll send it over, but yeah. There's a...
Can we take a public comment? No. Oh. Up to the podium, please.
Maybe the tree giveaway here.
Hi, Natalie Friedberg. I just wanted to ask what day and time the event is.
Earth Day is April 20th, and it is, I believe, from 11 till 2, what we've planned.
We could also have GWP promote their tree giveaway program. could sign up there. Maybe the Arbor Day people, because that's coming up. When is Arbor Day?
We could probably invite as many city departments as possible that have public-facing programs.
Anyway, I just wanted to throw those out there since I won't be actively participating. And with that, I'll, Rhonda, did you second the motion
I
already?
made the motion.
Oh, okay.
We're looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Bartrosov,
Yes.
Commissioner Kartunian, Commissioner Werner,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bazemore, and Chair Pinkerton.
Yes.
So I just looked it up. Arbor Day is April 26th, so that's great timing. People could sign up to donate a tree through that as well, in memory or in honor of somebody or an organization. I've done that in the past. And I know the city does a lovely event each year in honor of that.
All right, next item is reports and information, 6A 2024 Sustainability Commission Work Plan Discussion.
Good evening, Chairperson Pinkerton and Sustainability Commissioners. So it's part of the annual process to come to the Commission to review the prior year's work plan and a set of work plan for 2024. So today we thought we'd just begin that process with discussion. In discussing with Chairperson Pinkerton, we were going to go through all some of the ideas and discuss that as a commission, but since we have two commission members missing, I think we're going to postpone that discussion bit until next meeting, so the commission has the opportunity to review what we suggested. But we will still go over the work done to date and wrap up and give the commission a. So, as you know, in the 2023 work plan, the Commission selected 5 priority areas to work on. So that was the Climate Action Adaptation Plan, public outreach, energy emissions reduction, water conservation, green space, urban heat island, and mobility. Within those 5 priority areas, the Commissioners selected 12 projects. And within each of those 12 projects, the Commissioners selected a lead to help push those projects on. So we're happy to report that the Commission had a really good year. So we're going to highlight some of the successes of the Commission. So the first one is the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. So the Commissioners received information from Rincon Consultants on the greenhouse gas emissions inventory that was done as part of the Climate Action Adaptation Plan. The Commissioners had the opportunity to review that greenhouse gas inventory with Rincon and provide their comments. The Commission also promoted the CAP through community engagement and through the use of mini grants to help engage our community. And a lot of that was done through the Commission providing feedback on the cards and at the workshops too. So with thanks to the Commission, we had a lot of members of our community able to comment on the Climate Action Adaptation Plan and specifically the Climate Vulnerability Assessment. And also the Commission had the opportunity, again with Rincon Consultants, to have a look and give their ideas and thoughts on some of the draft measures. So all that information that the Commission provided to Rincon Consultants has been included in the draft measures, and I'm happy to say we're doing the final round of internal review on those draft measures and ready to start moving on to updating those draft measures to include the communities, the commissions, and internal staff comments. Public outreach. The Commission has been very, very busy in 2023 regarding public outreach activities. The previous ex officios organized a trip to Clark High School, to the LA County Water Treatment Plant, and I know that the participants on that trip really enjoyed that. The Commission has launched the Sustainability Stewardship Award. We have 9 recipients of that award, and we know that people who do receive that are quite honored, and We think it's a really good way to promote not only the work of the Commission, but to engage our community in the work that we do. There's also the Eco Gardening and Compost Lecture that I think was, some of the commissioners attended that or did the actual talking to that. Obviously, Earth Day Fair and a number of the ex officios were part of the Carbon Conversation panelists that we had last year, which was part of our Earth Day activities. And the commissioners obviously are integral to the recruitment of the student ex officio office members. And some of our ex officio office members were keynote speakers and organizer of the Junior State of America, SoCal. So the commission has been out in our community, and I think we need to recognize and thank the commission for all the work that they've been doing there. Regarding emissions reductions, the Commission had the opportunity to review the solar PV and EV permit process to expedite the permitting process and provide the information on that. The Commission gave feedback to staff on the ban of gas-powered leaf blowers, and that feedback was put into the staff report that was then presented to City Council. And again, the Commission had the opportunity to review the 2021 greenhouse gas emissions inventory results and provide their input. In regards to water conservation, staff presented to the committee, the Commission, information on the city's landscape ordinance, the mandatory water efficient landscape ordinance, and the Commission had the opportunity to provide their input into that as well. In terms of priority number 4, green space and urban heat island, the Commission will present a report through Public Works and through our arborist, and we're able to present or give their recommendations to update the expansion of the Glendale tree protections. And I know that the recommendations from the committee has made it into those final reports that were presented to City Council as well. And finally, mobility. The Commission had the opportunity to review the Metro GoCast program, participate, as we've heard already earlier today, in the bicycle transportation plans project development team, and provide feedback on the draft bicycle transportation plan. So in summary, as mentioned, I think the Commission should be really proud of the work they've accomplished over the last year. And we look forward to setting some goals and everything for the Commission to accomplish in 2024. With that being said, we do recommend that the Commission's work areas for 2024 mirror that of the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. So that is building systems, social governance systems, mobility and land use systems, and urban ecosystems, and as well continue outreach and engagement. So if the commissioners wish to discuss that or have thoughts on that, we'd like to take those thoughts on that. And then finally, the staff has, in each of those 5 areas, suggested activities that the Commission may want to pursue. It was our initial idea that the Commission would discuss all these activities, these programs tonight, select one priority area, one priority program in each of the focus areas. But I think it's the recommendation of the chair that we have the whole Commission here to have those discussions. So with that being said, I think this gives the Commission an opportunity to review this, review the different projects that staff have included, and then have that discussion at the February Commission meeting. And with that, I'm able to answer any questions or thoughts that you may have.
Do you agree with waiting to have a discussion until we have everybody here? Okay. Would you mind sending emails to everybody, just reminding them that this discussion was postponed, so they'll do their homework? Thank you. Yeah, okay. Per our city attorney, go put it back on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, next item is 6B, Sustainability Commission reports to City Council discussion.
This was mine, and I think what prompted me to think about this is we toss out a lot of really good ideas, I think, at these meetings. But if they're not comments, or if they don't get agendized, they don't necessarily make their way to city council. And then I happened to give a presentation at South Pasadena a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was very interesting. They have a council member who regularly comes and gives an update to their Sustainability Commission. Now, I'm not recommending that. I'm recommending the opposite, and maybe do something where we could rotate among the members. But I just see a lot of what I think are really good ideas, not making it over to city council. They can be small, they can be very large in scale, but I think we owe it to ourselves and to the community to have a method for transmitting those ideas. So I assume the city attorney has to weigh in on that, but I'll give you an example. We use a lot of recycled water in Glendale, but most of it, I think, goes for the parkway along Glen Oaks, but we have absolutely no signage noting that. So I thought some simple signs along the parkway might be useful to let people know, hey, this is a thing, might prompt discussions or thoughts about gray water systems. So that was my thinking in mentioning this, having this item as an agenda item. Thanks.
Yes, Chairperson Pinkerton, if I could just review quickly how information should get to City Council, and then we can discuss how that we may want to change that or amend that. So the first is we have to do an annual report to City Council, and that annual report lays out the Commission's work for the year ahead. We did that in April of this year, so we'll probably go back around about April again of 2024. And I think there's an opportunity there to say this is areas that are important to the Commission, this is what we're going to be working on, this is what the support of City Council to do that, but also reflect back on the work that was done in the previous year and maybe say where that support was not given. And then the second, in terms of providing information to City Council, there's in essence 3 ways that we can do that. So motions that are passed by the Commission that seek some explicit action by City Council must be put into staff reports, and then those staff reports is submitted to City Council as an action item. There may be work of the Commission that the Council needs to know of. It's important for them to know, but that may not require specific action by Council, but may inform their future work, and those items can be submitted to Council as a note and file. And then finally, if there's any recommendations for Council action that don't require Council debate and deliberation, they can be part of the consent calendar going forward. So these are the current options that we have, but I understand Chairperson Pinkerton, I think, wants some more maybe personal representation to Council. But I just want to lay out what the avenues were available and then have your discussion.
Apologies for preempting you. I know working in city government, we get a lot of, note and file. I don't know that those are ever read or seldom read. So I think just maybe a more personal touch, having somebody there reminds Council that the Commission's there too. So that's why I was thinking it doesn't necessarily have to be a weekly thing. It could be a monthly thing, a quarterly thing that we do. But those were my thoughts.
I guess, Jillian, this is a question for you. Like, if we can we go back to that slide that had the 3 different? Yeah. So I'm trying to recall a specific example. I think it was the GWP Commission that sent a recommendation to City Council to act a certain way. I think it was on Grayson recent months ago, maybe no more than a year ago. And I think it came in the form of an actual letter from the Commission. Does that fall into one of these categories, or is that a different approach that we can take?
Members of the Commission, typically these are the methods for doing that, conveying information to the City Council. So it's formalized, it's transparent, it becomes part of the agenda, it's noticed. The note and file is similar to an informational item. So if it's a motion to note and file, then they are taking an action which shows that they have they have to have discussion on the item. There may be speakers that come to the item. Commission members are always welcome to attend the city council meetings. So for example, if the direction is provided to put together a report, maybe it's whatever, quarterly or as suggested by the commission, when that report is presented to the city council, a commission member could come and be available, could speak, of course, as a member of the community, but also answer questions concerning the content or the subject matter of the report that's being provided. So if you could scroll back one slide under the rules, there, I submit an annual report and other reports to the city council as appropriate. So it's certainly within the ambit of your jurisdiction to provide that information that you believe would be useful under the role of the commission to keep them updated about commission concerns or activities you'd like their attention drawn to. Those are all vehicles, absolutely, but as Mr. Jones indicated, the three methods of doing so are very effective. They're transparent. Like I said, they will be part of the agenda packet, available online. They'll be noticed. So while I don't recall the letter, but that just seems less effective in terms of exposure of the issues and the activities of the commission than a separate communication from the commission. So I'd have to look into that because I'm not really. I know that they did take an action. Recommendation was sought from the GWP Commission, so that was conveyed as a recommendation within the staff report when Grayson was brought forward. So that was more of the formalized approach. Yeah.
I'm thinking, let's take two examples and like tease this out a little bit more. So, the drive-through moratorium, for example, like I know if the commission takes a position on that, it will be folded into a staff report because council will have that agendized. So that I understand, that makes sense to me. Let's take this Lot 11 idea that I had in mind. Now, that's a item that is not going to be agendized to council that I'm aware. So if it's an idea that we are bringing forward that is not formally agendized by staff as part of a staff item, where would that fall in? Now, would that be a standalone note and file that a letter or a position was taken by a commission and is now on council agenda, or does it look something different?
It would need to be agendized. So if there were a position taken, a vote was taken by the commission, the commission is directing staff to forward that recommendation or the ideas to the city council. As Mr. Jones indicated, that would be placed on the city council agenda and presented. That's the most effective way to do it, other than showing up in person or submitting a letter but even that letter, if it would have to be Brown acted if it were an action of the commission, right? So some things to think about, yeah.
So it would be a note and file. It would be an action item. An action item on the council agenda, and it would potentially spark a discussion unless they wouldn't put it on consent, right?
There's no discussion on consent items unless those are pulled for discussion. So that's just approved in one motion. So those are routine matters that otherwise don't require, analysis discussion, and can be all approved together in one action. So the concept there, if the commission wanted to spark conversation, would be to have that as an action item on the council's agenda for them to take adopt a motion, which is where they're actively noting and filing the information that's been provided through whatever that report is, whether it's monthly, quarterly, annually, etc. So that is an action on the action agenda.
So if we pursued the Lot 11 idea further, it would be a action item for us, that it'd be an action item for the council?
What you could do, because it's not on the agenda tonight.
Right.
You could ask that it be agendized, have a discussion, and seeking direction, to provide direction to staff to convey that information to the city council. Then our city council report would be drafted, and that would go to the city council
As a note and file.
as an action item.
Action item. Okay, got
So
it.
we didn't stipulate that, though, tonight, correct? So do we have to introduce another motion? Because we didn't ask specifically for that to become an action item, did we?
I mentioned action items specifically.
Okay.
If it wasn't clear, let it be clear now.
So staff can come back to have, there could be a discussion concerning, it should agendize that for the next commission meeting. Right, and then whatever the direction is from the commission can be conveyed forward to the city council.
Yeah, I think Jennifer, I like where your mind is on this, is that there be some kind of regular communication or correspondence with council. I think I have always been a proponent that we are more action-oriented and take formal positions on various issues, whether it comes from staff or not. And I think, maybe we can let Lot 11 be our practice run and see how that goes. Because the idea is that we are advising council, that we're sparking discussions and having them think about things that we have thought of and are formally recommending, and maybe that's the right approach. We haven't actually done that before. Often when we take action here or provide comment, the comments that we provide are really distilled down to maybe a couple sentences in a long staff report. So there's various ways to do it. I think, I'm looking for ways that I think are a little bit more potent and effective. So, I like where you're going though, and I definitely support it.
My recommendation would be when you do decide to submit items to City Council, that they will be aligned with the work plan that you would have submitted to them, and let them know that these potential items will be coming. Because City Council agenda is very, very busy, so in a polite way, I guess what I'm trying to say is we can't go to City Council every month with, like, the Sustainability Commission has this. So I think there needs to be some alignment between your priorities to make sure that we are then able to get that on City Council's agenda.
Would it make sense to agendize this again next month when we hopefully have all the commissioners here?
I believe so. I think
discussion.
we have the discussion on the work plan and then discussion on this exactly and how you want to go forward. I think that would make sense.
I wonder if it'd be worth having some plan to like note that this item that we just talked about will want to be possibly reported to council, and then we can discuss, so that it would be agendized for our meetings later, so then we can all at the same time have we have 4 things noted that we may want to speak to council about. Do we actually want to send that off? And then that can be every couple meetings or something. And that way you could also have planned for that single meeting that someone on the council could go, or on the committee could go to the council that next meeting and then talk about these 4 items that we mentioned. Might be worth doing something like that, if I'm understanding everything correctly.
That sounds feasible to me, but yeah, so I take that note. We'll discuss it when we have the other commissioners here. Great. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, next item, 7, Sustainability Office updates.
We have no updates.
All right, next item, 8, adjournment. We just need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second, thank you. We adjourn the Sustainability Commission at 6:31 p.m. Thank you.